BLITZ is Coach Dacen Cash of the Stevens County Indians. Coach, really appreciate you having me up here to talk about your team a little bit.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely, and you guys didn't waste any time getting off to a good start this year, 3-1 overall. Got a couple wins over some top 10 teams. Imagine you couldn't ask for much of a better start than this so far. Is that right?
Yeah, we kind of set an off-season goal to where we were gonna make the non-region pretty much going through the gauntlet to where we were going to go play some really good baseball teams. Kyle at Jefferson, they do a great job. I mean, Elite 8 run last year, and they're loaded again this year. Very well coached year by year. Chris, same way at Habersham. I knew going in that was going to be two very tough tests to open up with. And we didn't make it any easier either. We had two Elite 8 teams, then we had Athens Christian, which was another Elite 8 team, and then next week we're gonna go get some of North Oconee and Peachtree Ridge and Harrison, and I think that's the Final Four Elite 8 and Elite 8 as well from last year. So definitely, hopefully gonna be battle tested when it comes time for region play in a couple of weeks.
Iron sharpens iron too, so there's that. But coming off the Elite 8 last year, what's the expectation and the message that you gave the team coming into this year for the guys that were coming back?
Yeah, after reflecting from last year, and it was a fun run. We had a lot of fun. We kind of got talking as a coaching staff and even as a team that all we heard was let's make it to the playoffs. Let's make it to the Sweet 16. Let's make it to Elite 8. And there really wasn't any verbiage of anything more. And that's exactly what we did. We made it to Elite 8. So this year, we've kind of changed the tone a little bit around here to where we're kind of mentioning some other things. Region championship, #1, and hopefully playing the last game of in the state in May, hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Go back, hit rewind just a little bit to when you decided to take over the program here at Stevens County. And I know there's a lot of emotions with that and a lot of pride that comes with it because you came from here and this is where you played as well and took this team to some amazing heights. But talk about the opportunity, how it kind of came about, your feelings on taking over the program, and then maybe some of the biggest changes you had to make to the culture when you came in.
Yeah, definitely wasn't an easy decision coming from North Hall. Those guys do it right year by year, first class program. But I just felt that it was a little bit bigger than baseball to come home and kind of hopefully pour into these young men and just put our heads down and go to work. I was lucky enough to play for a state championship when I wore the Stevens County uniform. So Stevens County baseball, Stevens County Little League, Dakota Little League, it means a whole lot to me, and I'm hoping to get us where we want to go.
Were there any big challenges when you first came in? You know, just in terms of when you come in as a new coach, taking over a program, sometimes you gotta deal with culture that's in place, or just any number of things. Were there any challenges you had right out of the gate?
I think the biggest thing was it was pretty much from day one. We just put our heads down and went to work. We didn't say much. Last year they were rebuilding the field. They were doing a lot of stuff in the indoor. There were some days we'd show up over here and wouldn't have a practice field. That group last year and a lot of these returners, they overcame a lot of adversity last year with a lot of obstacles that they had to overcome. But I would say just us putting our head down and going to work was the biggest thing.
Yeah. Talk about your lineup a little bit. Talk about some of the guys who are the heavy hitters or the key players in the lineup and the tone setters, all that. Maybe a chance to give some of those guys a shout out and what you're seeing so far from this group through the first 4 games.
Yeah, we're turning about 6 or 7 from last year. There's a couple of new pieces. This made a huge difference this year so far. One is Will Falk, our catcher behind the plate. He's done a phenomenal job. Actually had the flu last week and caught a 7-inning ball game. So that's part of the toughness aspect that we teach in our program on a daily basis. Lane Presley's also another big piece. He's threw a lot of innings this past week, and he's also pretty much a guy that we can put in center field, left field, second base, right field, wherever we need him. So he's been a huge asset to that utility spot that we kind of didn't have last year.
Awesome. And you go back to going into the season, you kind of noted that speed and defense were going to be part of the identity and strength that this team was going to build around. Talk about how big of a factor that is when you can play good defense and you can kind of create all kinds of havoc running the base as well.
Yeah, we preach pretty much on a daily basis of taking care of the baseball, and these guys have truly took that to heart, and they take pride in it, and it shows when the lights come on. We tend to practice a little fast, so us practicing like that, going fast, I think kind of slows down the game for these young men to where it's a little bit easier than it normally would be if we didn't practice like we did.
And you talked about being battle tested with the early non-region schedule, and then once you get into region play, it doesn't lighten up at all. I mean, you got a really tough region, obviously, so that's going to bode well, I think. But what do you kind of tell the guys, or do you have to say anything about them staying focused on the task at hand when there's a lot of outside hype and things like that?
Yeah, that's been a big point of emphasis. They know this game, this game will eat you alive if you get too high or even get too low. We've been really preaching of staying even keel on one level, no matter what happens, and that correlates too. When the lights are on in the game, that if we make a mistake, we got to shut it down, because usually if you can shut it down and not make as many mistakes as the other team, you're probably going to win the baseball game.
Well, Coach, congrats on a great start, and I know your best ball's ahead of you, so wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Storyblocks